Hi everyone, today, we're going to take a look at the 5 best calligraphy markers on the market for this year. First, we're going to show you our 5 best picks, then we'll talk about what you should look for before buying a best calligraphy markers. You can find timestamps and links to all the products we mention in this video down in the description below. Let's get started. Are you thinking of trying your hand at calligraphy? If you are, then you will need the best calligraphy markers to make the hobby a bit easier to get into. However, you should not invest in the most expensive pens just yet. You should try using the more affordable pens first so you can get a feel for them. There are many brands of calligraphy markers in the market today, but not all of them work well. You need to know what to look for in a calligraphy pen. This way, you can find a product that writes quite well but does not cost an arm and a leg. This article will teach you how to shop for the best brush pens for calligraphy. You will learn about the features that you need to look out for and the qualities that make them great. You will also get a couple of product recommendations and reviews to help you make up your mind. Number 5. Hethrone LZH-BSB Calligraphy Markers. For the price, you are getting quite a lot of different colors. This set of markers contains 120 non-repeating colors. You are getting at least 10 different shades of the basic colors, so making gradients and blending colors are easier compared to other color markers. You will be getting 2 sets of markers as each pen comes with dual tips. There are fine bullet point felt tips on one end of the pens, and the other end comes with flexible nylon brush tips. Having dual tips gives these pens more versatility and uses. Aside from calligraphy, I also use them for drawings and illustrations. I also like the convenient carrying case that these pens come in. This is quite helpful, especially since the set comes with 120 different pens. The case helps keep the pens organized, which can be quite difficult without the case since there are no color codes printed on the pens. The pens also use water-based inks, which means they are odorless and non-toxic. Another nice thing about the water-based inks is that they behave just like watercolors. You can use a blending brush to mix or fade the colors. I do not have anything serious that I can complain about these markers. However, if I must give a negative, it would be that the fine points are not quite as small as I wanted them to be. This is not that big of a problem, as I could use the brush tips, with the lightest of touches, to draw fine lines. Pros. The set contains 120 different colors. All pens come with dual tips, come in a convenient carrying case, use water-based, non-toxic, and odorless inks. Great customer service. Cons. The fine tips are not small enough for fine details. Number 4. Craft N Beyond CNB001 Calligraphy Markers. This set of calligraphy brush pens is ideal for beginners because you are getting 3 different sizes of brush pens. This means you can practice several different types of brush calligraphy. The fine point tips are great for faux brush calligraphy, while the bigger ones are for actual brush lettering. Just like real brushes, you can vary the thickness of the lines depending on the amount of pressure you are placing on the tips of the calligraphy markers for beginners. The more pressure, the thicker the lines. Although the tips are not as flexible as I would have wanted them to be, they still provide a degree of control. Now, a marker having a lot of ink will not be that impressive if their nibs were to fray easily. This is not an issue with these markers. I have been low-key abusing these pens during the past couple of weeks, and they are still working as if they are new. You can bend the brush tips and they will spring back. As mentioned earlier, the brush tips are not as flexible as I thought they would be, but you can break them in after a couple of days of use. However, if you are like most newbies at brush calligraphy, then you might be too scared to bend the tips. It would have been much better if the tips were flexible. Pros. The set contains 3 sizes of brush pens, provides absolute control, vibrant and fade-proof ink, easy to use and get used to, ideal for beginners. Cons: the tips are not as flexible as I would have wanted them to be. Number 3. Zenicolor ZC100DTF Calligraphy Markers. The thing I like the most about this set of markers is that it contains 100 different colors. There are different shades of the different colors, making blending and creating gradients a lot easier. It would have been much easier if there were color codes, but as it is now, they are still great. You are getting 2 sets of markers in one because each marker has dual tips. I usually use the fine tips for drawing fine details and outlines, while the brush tips are for shading and calligraphy work. I like that I only have to buy this one set for all my needs. Another neat feature of this modern calligraphy brush pen set is the quick-drying ink used. This is ideal if you will be using these markers for journaling. I like them because I tend to take my time when doing calligraphy work, so even the smallest smudge ruins the piece. The nice thing about the manufacturer is that they offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you are not completely satisfied with the set, the manufacturer will refund your payment. I have been using this set of markers for a month or so, and I am still quite happy with them and not even remotely close to asking for a refund. Pros: the set contains 100 different colors. Each pen has dual tips. All pens use quick-drying inks. Comes with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Inks are water-based and non-toxic. Cons: some of the colors on the pens are not accurate to the color of the inks. Number 2. CureTake RB6000@/48V Calligraphy Markers. These markers are not just great for calligraphy. Because these pens come in 48 colors, you can also use this for just about any art project that you have. You can use this for watercolor painting and drawings and illustrations. You will also find it useful in adult coloring books. These pens use highly pigmented inks, but they are all water-based and non-toxic. I like using these markers too because they do not emit noxious fumes, like how alcohol-based inks do. I tend to get dizzy from the fumes when I need to work on larger art pieces, so using non-toxic markers is a must. Unlike other brush tip markers, these come with real brush tips, not just flexible nylon tips. This means when you are doing brushstroke calligraphy, you are using actual brushes, adding to its authenticity. With that said, you will need to practice a lot to master the use of these markers. Now, here's the problem: CureTake markers, being among the best options for brush tip marker calligraphy, are quite expensive. This might not be a problem if you have a sizable budget, but for beginners at brushstroke calligraphy, starting with them may be hard on the wallet. Practice with cheaper markers before using expensive ones. Pros: has 48 different colors, uses non-toxic, no fumes, and water-based inks. Comes with flexible brush tips. The colors are easy to blend and fade. Versatile uses. Cons: a bit on the expensive side. Number 1. Missilove JSS BJB099 Calligraphy Markers. It is important to keep in mind that even though you will be getting 6 markers in this set, you will only receive 4 tip sizes. You will be getting 1 extra fine, 1 fine, 1 medium, and 3 brush tips. A lot of people complained about not getting 6 tip sizes, but they did not understand the product details. These markers are refillable, making them the ideal choice for beginners at calligraphy. Another nice feature of these markers is that you can use any brand ink to refill them. You only need to unscrew the cap at the bottom, and while holding the pen vertically, you should put a couple of drops of ink into the barrel. The original ink that came with the markers is water-based and non-toxic. This makes these calligraphy markers the ideal gift for kids who have an artistic inclination. Being water-based also means the ink does not have any noxious fumes. This makes it great for those long practice sessions. I do not have much to complain about with these pens. However, I did have a bit of a problem figuring out what tips the pens have without popping off the caps first. It took me a while to figure out the diagrams printed on the pens since they are in Chinese. Pros. Comes in 4 different tip sizes. Refillable pens. Uses non-toxic and water-based ink. Tough and durable nibs. The product comes with a 1-year satisfaction guarantee. Cons. Hard to figure out which tip you have without taking off the cap.